It's your birthday.
Nice to meet you.
You're at the right place.
I know. You're by yourself. I know. Where is it? We should take those chairs away and give them to Oh, I'm good. I've been waiting to talk to you. Okay. Are we ready?
Okay.
We're good over there, we're good there. Okay, call this meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge of the flag, and then if you could remain standing afterward for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could, I wanted to recognize a former Board of Ed member and big volunteer in East Hampton, Audrey Heidel, who passed away last Friday. She was actually on the board from 1977 to 83 and ended as chairwoman. So, if you could. Thank you. Before we start, one change I'd like to make to the agenda. If I can have a motion, I'd like to move item 8, these recognitions, up to new 4B.
Second.
Nancy and Joanne, comments? All good? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Paul, did you want to say anything?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The month of March is Connecticut Boards of Education Member Appreciation Month, and we encourage everyone in our school community to recognize the time and effort that our board members, Christopher Goff, Chair, Joanne Barmacy, Vice Chair, Amanda Amtmanis, Jared Bushy, Lori Caldwell, Jeff Carlson, Mark Lambert, Nancy Oakley, and Lois Villa devote to board business during the course of the year. And the use of the words board business is on purpose. One often is attracted to participating on the Board of Education as a result of a strong commitment to the schools and a passion to assist in developing great education programs for our children. Certainly, there's no better way to act on that passion than be directly involved with the teaching and learning that goes on in our schools. But being a board member requires a huge commitment and underappreciated work that often has little to do with a passion for teaching and learning. The work is much more than conversations about the classroom. The vast list of responsibility includes the development of policy, understanding and approval of curriculum, textbooks and programs, resolving issues of transportation, personnel and expenditures, the negotiating of contracts, committee meetings, and of course, the arduous process that it takes in terms of time, energy, and passion to develop and present the annual education budget. What this group actually does is to provide the behind-the-scenes glue that allows our students and teachers to shine every day. They don't teach in the classroom, they don't coach on the sidelines, they don't have the glorious moments, nor do they get the spotlight. But everything they do supports the glorious moments for our students. They are the important people behind the spotlight on our successes as a school community. Monday, March 11th, at tonight's meeting and throughout the month, we will honor the work, the success, and the passion of the East Hampton Board of Education, the #1 factor in the achievement of our schools and our children. We appreciate our board's daily efforts, their love of children, their commitment to our schools, and their dedication to making our schools stand out as the best in Connecticut. Thank you very much, board members. We did get you a little gift. It says East Hampton Proud Coffee Mug for all the caffeine you need to get you through our various meetings, especially the upcoming meetings. We can fill it with coffee at the next meeting.
Well, thank you, but I will put a little side note in there, and I think I speak for everyone on the board, with the administrators, the teachers, and the staff that we have. I've seen a lot of schools throughout the state and worked with many different administrations, and I think we could not have any better people here than what we have in East Hampton. So you guys make our job easy.
And while we are still celebrating, we're very excited to have the board appoint tonight, should he sign his letter.
Wait, there sounded like a question.
The appointment of high school assistant principal, Mr. Matthew Waterback. Come down and have your whole set. With over 100 applicants for the job and 3 rounds of interviews, we are very happy that one of our own strongly emerged from the pool. Mr. Warner has been doing the job as interim assistant principal. Starting tomorrow, we are going to remove the title interim and just call him the assistant principal of East Hampton High School. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
Yes, he's going to vote. Oh, you're going to vote. He's going to sign.
It's gonna be for you. You know. Okay, so while they're standing there, before you sign, do I have a motion to appoint Mr. Matthew Warner as assistant principal to the East Hampton High School.
So moved.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Then we'll put you on the spot if anything you'd like to say.
Would you come? Yes. As Chris is working his way over, Mr. Warner, any comments that you would like to?
Well, this one is easy for me. I have the opportunity to continue to give back to the district that started me off here 12 years ago. I've only known East Hampton High School. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to just continue doing the same thing, just in a different capacity, working with some of our best. And I appreciate all my colleagues who came out and support. Just another reason why East Hampton's great and why I want to stay here. Thank you very much.
All this for a piece of cake.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. All the babies look over here. No.
Good luck with that. There you go. Now you got it.
And the celebration just continues. We have 3 middle school students who are winners of the Peace Poster Contest. I'm going to call Mr. Lehman down. Mr. Lehman is coming down. And Mr. Carl Pastor, our teacher at East Hampton Middle School. Good afternoon, evening, whatever it is, Monday.
Yeah.
So this year we had 3 winners from the Peace Poster Contest. Mr. Pastor, we had 47, I believe, participants in the contest. It was our 4th year?
I think so.
4th year participating. It's a great event run by the Lions Club, and we'd just like to show off some artwork.
Sure. Yeah, every year, Lions Club helps us participate in this annual Peace Poster Contest. This year's theme is Kindness Matters. It's a great way, again, to use art as a way to promote these great values, not just district-wide, but if the artwork happens to win the region, then they'll move on to the state and the national, as well as international. So again, it's a great way to promote these values, to not just to us, but outside the world as well. So our winners for this year, we had first was Cameron Sprague, second Maya Dobson, and then Alex for 3rd place. Alex Gordon.
I really expected a fish in here somewhere. Good job.
One more.
Can we see your posters? We can't see them.
Very nice.
Oh, nice. Oh, great job.
And let's go right down the list. Alexander, would you introduce the guests you brought tonight?
I just brought my mom. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. And we have Maya.
So excited about that.
Maya, would you introduce your guests tonight?
My mom, my dad, and my stepdad.
Thank you very much for joining us. And Cameron, your guests.
My mom, my friend Maddie and Belle, and Miss Kim.
Great. Thank you so much. And congratulations Nice job.
Thank you.
You can sit here, just stand here and do this. During Board of Education Appreciation Month, we're also proud to present the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education Award, and it goes to 2 middle school students and 2 high school students. Our 2 middle school students, Melanie Hurt and Alexander Urban. Come on down. All right, first I have Melanie with me. Alex.
Alexander couldn't make it today.
Okay.
I'll take it in this place.
Okay.
I always wanted to be on the board of education anyway.
We have empty seats here.
Melanie is a very conscientious student and leads by example. She shows others how to behave in class by being an excellent role model. She's always willing to help others. Melanie is kind and compassionate and will work with anyone to lend a hand or to explain something. She's also willing to take chances. She entered into a scary story competition that involved reading her story aloud in front of multiple classes and adults. It was scary. As a member of the Early Act Club, a community service group at the middle school, she has proven herself to be someone that can be relied upon and an active participant and role model for her peers. Thank you very much, Bob. And Melanie, who are your guests tonight?
My grandma, my brother Robert, my brother Jason, my dad, and my mom.
Thank you very much for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself as well as any other guests that Alex has here tonight?
Besides the hair color, we pretty much look the same.
That's right. Well, Alex is a thoughtful and hardworking student. He always puts forth his best effort and truly commits to doing his best work. He is willing to ask questions to ensure he understands and always willing to help others. During class, he pays attention to detail and the directions. Is a student who can always be counted on to always stay focused and on task. On the cross-country team, he was a great teammate, always respectful of his other teammates and coaches, and additionally did well with time management. Even when busy, he effectively balances work and play. Alex is a respectful model for his classmates and a pleasure to have in his teachers say he's a pleasure to have in their class. So congratulations. Sorry, couldn't make that too. That's all right. Thank you very much.
I brought his mom with me.
Congratulations for us.
Thank you.
And Mr. Rizzuto will introduce you to the 2 high school students who are the recipients of the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education Award.
Okay, we'll start with Julia. Leader, involved, kind. These are just some of the attributes that help describe Julia Shirley. Part of the CABE Leadership Award criteria includes the following qualities: willingness to take on challenges, willingness to commit to a project, ability to understand issues clearly. Julia appeared tailor-made as a recipient due to these characteristics and the overall impact she has made on the East Hampton High School community. Julia is a very active member of the school as she is involved in several different student activities at EHHS, is the senior class president, and is a proud member of the soccer team, indoor track team, and outdoor track team. As a result of her demeanor and how she carries herself, Julia is a tremendously regarded student by both her peers and staff. Those who know her best, and even those that do not, view her as a leader. Academically, Julia selected challenging courses throughout her high school career and was most impacted by her geometry, AP psychology, and biology courses, as they all tie in some manner to her likely career path, which is nursing. When she considers her high school experience, her most fond memories are that of being a soccer captain and pretty much anything connected to her time as a member of the girls' soccer program. Congratulations to Julia Shirley. 110% dedicated is the best way to begin describing Travis Bevan. No matter the task, Travis will dedicate all of his energy toward the successful completion of a project, and his enthusiasm will be contagious and positively impact those around him. Part of the CABE Leadership Award criteria includes the following qualities: concern for others, ability to work with others, ability to honor a commitment. Again, these seem tailor-made for Travis. Travis's leadership comes in the form of his tremendous kindness and concern for the well-being of others, his willingness to assist in whatever capacity to whoever needs it, and that he is one of the ultimate ambassadors of our school. Every day, Travis will stop and shake hands with both students and staff members he interacts with, is the first one to run and open the door for someone with their hands full, and without fail, have something positive to say. To know Travis means you know his tremendous passion for the sport of basketball, and that is where his leadership has also been seen. He has served as the loyal boys basketball team manager since his freshman year and has been synonymous with that program for the last 4 years. In the classroom, in the hallways, and by the basketball court, Travis's greatest attribute of a leader is that he leads by example and by his great character. After high school, Travis hopes to explore either the field of sports management or hospitality. In either field, Travis will succeed as a result of his lead by example ways. Congratulations to Travis Bevan.
Wonderful, thank you for doing this. Come down and take pictures nice and close. And Travis, your guests.
My dad and my mother were she went.
Oh, there she is.
Come down, come closer.
Come down,
Get
come
good
closer if you
pictures.
want.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 1 more.
Did everybody get their pictures in? Okay, great.
Okay, so now with all the certificates and awards and appointments, we're going to celebrate with cake and punch. We're going to take about a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and finish up.
show tonight.
Okay. Are we all here? We're good? We'll start back up. Thank you for that. We'll wait for you guys. All right. Thank you again for staying. Continue. Go on to interboard liaisons. I don't see any finance or council members. Labor union representative. We have Mr. Archibald here.
Hi, Steve Archibald, president of the EHEA. I just wanted to say publicly on the record that the union, both CEA at the state level and the EHEA at the local level, will do everything we can to stand united with this board to oppose any proposed legislation that shifts the state's responsibility and share of teacher retirement to the town. I was at a board meeting, a CEA board meeting Friday night, and it's a legislative priority of the union to make sure that the state lives up to their responsibility and doesn't shift costs to the town and probably cost us CCS funding and all of that. So whatever we can do, we want to do, and we appreciate everything you do for the kids and the teachers in the town.
Thank you.
Thanks for your.
Now we move on to updates. Start with Mary, Director of Curriculum.
So we had a curriculum subcommittee meeting this evening, so we'll talk a little bit more in future meetings, but we looked at the new course offerings that have been added and talked a little bit about how the process we went through to determine those courses as well as staffing them. We looked at the description from the 1920 program of studies and talked through how that process works, looking at some of the realignment of staff that's already been announced within the district, which allows us to expand our course offerings and really maximize our staffing. We also discussed the timeline for curriculum writing for this school year in terms of internal training and building leadership capacity around curriculum this spring, so that in June we can do some curriculum writing and work that Rich Fielding and I, IT director, are working on internal systems to house that curriculum so that it can all be articulated and vertically aligned. So we're really excited to see that moving forward. Also, the accountability index reports were released by the State Department of Education. So I'm meeting with principals throughout the week to really look deeply at what that data tells us about performance areas that we want to celebrate, but also areas that we'd like to target for further growth. There weren't surprises to me. We already knew a lot of those features. We've already started to enact plans to address areas that we'd like to see growth. And we do anticipate presenting that information to you at the first board meeting in April, so you'll get a really close look at that. But there was so much to celebrate across every school improved, which we were excited to see. And Memorial School, it should be especially noted, was once again, second year in a row, identified as a school of distinction for a high-performing school district, or school, excuse me. And that means that they're in the top 10% of elementary schools in terms of academic achievement and overall rating on the accountability index in the state. So we're really proud of that accomplishment, and all the kudos to our Memorial staff we have here tonight and to the leadership team there. We're very excited and look forward to seeing that academic success and overall student profile continue to thrive throughout the system. So that's really exciting, and as I said, we'll go into more depth in early April.
Okay. Updates from the schools. Who's up?
Happy Board of Ed Appreciation Day. Thank you for all you do. At the elementary schools, we are at the end of trimester 2. We held our evening parent-teacher conference last Thursday. We have half-day parent-teacher conferences coming up this week. We're really looking forward to meeting with all our families and discussing student progress. We had a robust offering of professional development as well at the end of last week. If you saw the cheap fried press that's shared with you, you can see all of our teachers hard at work. And in our continued efforts to share kindness and compassion, our soap drive raised 437 bars of soap, and our sock drive 96 pairs of socks.
I'd like to add on to that last week was National School Breakfast Week, and the Connecticut State Department of Education and some USDA members toured East Hampton's school cafeterias at every level. Memorial had a What's for Your Favorite Breakfast contest going on, so that there are student work posted all over. The students could write about it, draw a picture, a poem, and we will select winners for that contest, and they will, at each grade level, a couple of students will have brunch for lunch with Andy and me after they are decided. And then the other thing that's happening is the Memorial has a student-run bookstore that was originally started with a CAS grant that Memorial was awarded. Jess Warner actually leads that work, and that is slated to open next week. So the third graders volunteered to work at it. They advertise, they organize, they gather books. It's self-sustained, so any profit that they get from it rolls right back into books. And they also offer swap books so that students don't have to have money to get books. They can bring a gently used book and trade it for another one. So it really is open to everyone. So we're excited that that's going to be opening next week.
Great.
Center School, very pleased to announce we're one step closer to a new boiler, so thank you all for your advocacy on behalf of the Center School boiler. That's a great day of professional.
That's a big thing. Yes. You know, wait, we just have to acknowledge that again. That's a huge step.
It is.
I mean, how many years has it been?
Yeah, surrounding
Ridiculous.
states have heard of the Center School boiler, never mind.
Okay, sorry.
Boiler parties.
Yeah.
We had a great day of professional learning on Friday as well, and thank you to Mary for organizing the DCF training. It was very impactful with human trafficking, an issue that's kind of silenced, but at the same time is a major concern across the state of Connecticut. Conferences are in full swing. We have our evening conferences tomorrow night, half days Wednesday and Thursday. Always a great opportunity to have face-to-face conversations with parents, both teachers and parents. Really appreciate that time. And kind of it came to fruition this week with our climbing club, that we went from fundraising to the construction to the installation to actually using our traverse wall, as it's officially called. So we're getting kind of a feel for how it's used with Ms. Robinson, who's helping out with that, so then she can implement it in her next physical education units. Also, we're proud to announce that we are officially heart healthy as a school. We've partnered with the American Heart Association. Students have signed a pledge that they will exercise, choose water over sugary drinks, and do a good deed daily. It's only been open for 3 weeks, and we've raised $2,700. So thank you to the community for being so generous with that. The goal is $3,000. We still have another 2 weeks that is open. And there was a representative from the American Heart Association that heard of all the great things that we're doing, actually stopped by the building today and participated in our physical education classes for about an hour. So that was nice to see.
All right, the middle school, although I've had some snow days, a little disjointed here and there, we're definitely in the heart of the school year, and classes are just moving along really fast. Kids are doing a lot of learning. We had last week on Thursday, author of the New York Times best-selling series, The School of Good and Evil, a Harvard graduate, Soman Shinani, came to visit us, talked about being an author, and talked a little bit about his book series, so that was very well received. We also had our first focus group from Kevin Booker and ADL. Kevin came out and he was doing a focus group to really talk to the kids about tolerance and acceptance and what kinds of things they see as concerns in the building and what kind of things they want to see changed. We're having our parent focus group next, March 20th at 4:30 in the library, and we're also going to have a staff focus group and then a staff training at the end of the month. So we're really excited not to just do a spot treatment, but to really provide some good education around acceptance and tolerance in our school system. Also pleased to announce Ms. Seeley is bringing our high school's wonderful capstone idea. We're going to do a pilot 8th grade capstone project called Capstone Convention. We're really excited about it. The kids are very excited. The way it was kind of introduced was what are some things you'd like to see in the school changed? And I got about 40 letters from kids with things that they'd like to see changed. So we met with these students and we talked to them and said, this is exactly how these changes are made. And then you go into the capstone of them really doing some more extra research and talking about how they're going to change within their own community. So it's really exciting. And last but not least, tomorrow we have, it's CAPS. It's a Middletown nonprofit organization is bringing us our mountain bike club.
And so tomorrow they're gonna bring in the equivalent of like Peloton, that's the only thing I can think of. They're gonna bring those into the cafeteria, kids are gonna race on them and see how they fare on the virtual mountain bike course. So that's really hopefully build some momentum around the club.
So at the high school, a couple of items very much worlds apart. So I'll start with the NIASC follow-up committee. So I've been meeting with a handful of staff members. We've been on a couple of occasions. If you recall in the fall, when Mrs. Del Volpe and I shared with you the 7 standards and the 31 recommendations kind of spread out amongst those 7 standards, we as a committee are really digging deep. We're looking at each one of those recommendations by the visiting team and coming up with what the 2-year and 5-year plan looks like and strategies to address all those recommendations within essentially a 5-year time frame. So we'll be looking to report back out to staff on that. On a very different sort of topic, so last week was National School Breakfast Week. Several staff members deserve acknowledgement, including Nutrition Director Jen Bowe, Culinary Teacher Casey Carter, and they partnered up to help educate students in basic food safety and nutrition guidelines. And providing additional support were Katie Teachin, our Library Media Center specialist, Rich Fielding, journalism teacher Tim Grady, and Dawn Munstrong, our cafeteria manager, which this essentially turned into a very organic collaboration, but it piqued interest of some folks that were doing a pretty standard interval audit of the high school and the district cafeteria work. And we had a member of the State Department of Education visit, as well as a couple members of the USDA. They were here last Thursday, and they were quite impressed with the operation, and it was great. That was the last leg of a very well-spirited smoothie competition, breakfast smoothie competition with our students, and they had signature flavors on each one of those mornings for a few mornings in a row. It was fun. If we needed any further confirmation as to how fast this year was moving, the 3rd quarter will be coming to a close during the 1st week of April.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for any of the schools or for Mary? Thank you, thank you. Moving on. Audience or citizens, open it up. Anyone, any comments, questions? Hearing none. Then we move down, jump down to number 9, committee reports. Oh, sorry, back up to 7. Consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Amanda, second? Yes. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Now we go down to Hannah. How have you been?
I'm good. I've been busy.
Yes.
Yeah, with basketball and some personal things. Sorry, I've not been here. But boys basketball wrapped up their season with 10 wins, 10 losses. They competed very well in the Shoreline Conference quarterfinals, but they lost. Girls basketball ended their season with 22 wins and 4 losses, and they competed in both the Shoreline Conference tournament and the States tournament and did very well in both. Indoor track has had a number of very successful meets. There has been a lot on the EHHS Bellinger Instagram supporting the track team. And the wrestling, one wrestler at the high school has done very well in his season. And he competed in the States, and I believe he's a freshman, so we will be seeing him for the next 3 years. So the Winter Sports Award is on Wednesday this week, so the 13th, and some upcoming spring sports are outdoor track, tennis, softball, and baseball. So Bellinger News has introduced signups for people who are interested in that. Not related to sports, we have seniors working on their capstone project. So Julia Shirley is doing another blood drive for her senior project, which was taking place on Friday, so if you guys have time, come by and donate. NHS put on the Mr. Bellinger production and raised about $600. So that has been our most successful event this year. NHS is also hosting a volleyball tournament on Thursday after school at 2:30. The band's cabaret is on March 28th. And Mr. Rizzuto already stated, but I'll just reiterate it, Ms. Carter's cooking classes learning about nutrition, and there's been an ongoing competition for smoothies in the morning. I did not get to try them myself, but I heard they were very tasty.
Good. Personnel has not met. Policy and curriculum. Update or just discuss when we get to the policies? Any?
We're doing it tonight.
Yeah, okay, all right, so we'll hold on that. Finance, transportation, building grounds.
Has not met. Approved the budget, so we're in limbo there.
Vern, anything new?
Nope, not since last time.
Okay. And nothing with the high school building committee, I believe? Nothing? Except now we need an update on the governor's budget, anything?
So, as you are aware, for those of you that were able to make the February 28th meeting, the tri-board meeting, our budget, which was standing proudly at a modest increase with highly impactful program additions at 2.5. We have put in that contingency of $151,185, which does boost the budget up to 3.05. Should the governor budget not include the TRB, then obviously we would just expect to be at the 2.5 budget. But as we present at the public hearing on Monday, March 25th, and then to the Board of Finance on March 29th, I'm sure you can expect some questions regarding the impact of this, and Karen and I will certainly be prepared. This was the slide that I really would like to call people's attention to, because while the governor's budget, the proposal to cover the teachers' retirement fund in year one is $151,000, it grows over the next 4 years to a highly impactful, if 151,000 isn't impactful enough, grows to $600,000 in 4 years. And it's kind of a phase in, so it wouldn't get too much higher than the 600,000. I shouldn't even say that's consolation. But you can see these are highly impactful amounts to the town of East Hampton going forward. And let me bring it to life, because here is your history of your budget increases. And that red line, the through line, is where you come out exactly average, 2.01%. If you count last year's 1.5 being upped to 1.9 with the additional funding, you trend at 2.01% budget increase. The 600,000 itself requires a 2% increase without any of the normal increases that we would face. So between an average of about a 2% budget increase each year, and knowing that next year's $321,000 and a $30 million budget is about 1% itself, the following year 1.5, and the following year 2%. These are not funds that this town can handle without major changes to our budget structure and to the town. Through all this, though, I want to make sure that people understand, this is not an issue with our teachers. And I think last year there was a lot of questions with the negotiations coming up, and we went through the budget process. But I put this out there because we had a very good round of negotiations with our teachers. Next year we have a 1.75% increase. There was no step advancement, and an 11th step added at the bottom. So the 10-step salary structure became an 11-step salary structure. There's no step advancement in next year's budget, and even the increases at 1.75, 1.75, 1.9 remain under what the state trend is at this point. So, I don't want anybody to look at this and say, this is the fault of our teachers. This is the fault of the state who have not met their obligations to the Teachers' Retirement Fund. And it's important to note that teachers do not pay into Social Security. They pay into a retirement fund 7% each year. The state picks up the rest. And for years, the state has underfunded that, and it's come back to haunt us in a way that none of us would imagine. But to put it back onto towns without any type of warning, without it even being a possibility of negotiations, is just an unfair way for the state to do its business.
And I think that's important too, the negotiation part. It came up at the tri-board meeting, the idea of, with the teacher's contract, that's something that we locally have control over. The retirement, we don't. We have no input, there's no negotiation, there's nothing. So we are being forced by the state to take this on. End of story. And I think that's the biggest upset that's going on. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Questions on that, anybody?
The other item is your enrollment. We had an error. I gave you, we made an error in last month, February. We had the numbers a little bit high in the Learning Center, and that's been corrected for this month and going back to last month.
So it's correct here now? Okay.
We only have 4 kids in there?
We have 4, but keep in mind the other half is East Hampton students.
Okay, so now we'll get to, we have a presentation. It's just jumping all around here. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to get out of the way so I can watch.
So tonight we have a program for you on social emotional learning. You may remember this actually came up back in January. I think we had a meeting where we were discussing a number of topics, including vaping, and there was conversation at that meeting, what is sort of our proactive approach to social emotional learning, and sort of tied to our overall wellness and health curriculum. And 6-12, we have formal health courses and curriculum. We are looking to add that at center school sooner than later. But what we also have as a companion to that work is work led by our teachers frequently, also by our related services team, school psychologists, social workers, around social emotional learning and equipping our students with the skills that they need to be successful in school and in life, to self-regulate and to be able to advocate for themselves, identify problems that they're having, have a toolbox of strategies to address those problems, and then also to advocate with others and to seek out supports. And so I'm really excited that tonight we're going to be able to focus on sort of the K-6 environment and how we support social emotional learning at Memorial Center and the middle school. We're going to hear directly from team members at Memorial and Center and the middle who speak to the different kinds of programming we use with our students and the strategies that students are exposed to. As I said, we'll cap off with the middle school and we'll talk a little bit about the developmental guidance class that we added there this year. If you recall, because we've talked about it before and you've heard audience members promote it in budget conversations, that class meets once a week for all 6th graders and really is a guaranteed experience for 6th graders around entry into the secondary environment, which is typically a transition point for students and one that sometimes can require a little additional support. So we're really excited to have that program to feature with you as well. In April, we'll revisit this topic looking more at sort of the 6-12 continuum and how we use an advisory program at that level to continue to promote a sense of engagement with all students and what we know is a core need for all students at any age in any setting, which is belonging. And so I think you'll get to see how that continuum works for students between tonight's presentation as well as our future work that we'll share with you at the middle and high school level at a future date in April. Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Sullivan, or Mr. Lehman, did any of you want to add to that before we bring forward the presentation, or thought I missed anything?
I guess I think you covered everything really nicely on this part. I think it's just nice for me at the building level, working with Brandy as we're called sometimes to support students who may be having a challenging time, to see being able to access some of these strategies and be able to use that common language. So I think it's a testament to the work the team has done around that.
And not just developing, the individual skills, but also creating a sense of community within the classrooms, which also extends to the building as a whole.
And I think, as you look at this work, I think one of the things that's been really powerful amongst the team is having common language and shared strategies. What we understand about our learners is that the more they can recognize the tools and see a consistent message, that's something they're going to be able to really evolve into and grow with over time. And I hearken back to an early training on zones of regulation that Jenny Quinn, who will be speaking tonight, was leading for us as staff at Center School. And as you'll see, it's color coded, and she was wearing green, and she said, "I'm wearing green because, it's a big presentation."
I'm
Yellow right now. So, I'm blue, Jenny. It's all good. So you're going to see, I think even as team members, it's really lifelong skills that we want our students to feel confident. My responsibilities often have me speaking to you about our academic work and how we monitor that and how we support our students as learners. But the foundational work before we approach any of that is to approach our students as people. As individuals, as the whole child who are dealing with a range of experiences, have a range of needs, and we need to ensure that we recognize that. So that is often taken for granted, and in many ways is the most important work that we do. And so it's something that if you visit our schools, will see our teachers doing, taking care of the children with whom they work. And this is a component of that. So I'm very excited to welcome tonight from Memorial, we have Dr. Chrissy Fresco-Hawes, school psychologist, Jenny Quinn, Jamie Sullivan, grade 2, Shannon Stockberger, grade 1, Lauren Zamidi, grade 1. We also have Sue Engelhardt, social worker across both Center and Memorial schools, and Joanna Mercaldi, guidance counselor from East Hampton Middle School. So with that, I think I'm going to invite, you can all come up and we'll just kind of move through the different components. We have different pieces and a range of presentation. I'm very impressed with the presentation tools they're using. So we'll get started in just a second. Thank you all for being here tonight.
So thank you for the opportunity to let us speak with you tonight about social emotional learning. I know you guys have talked a lot about the profile of the graduate this year, and the profile of the graduate, when you summarize that, is a knowledgeable, ethical, self-directed problem solver. And when you think about how does that happen? So we know about knowledgeable, I'm sure you've heard a lot about curriculum for reading, writing, math, for advances that are happening in science, but how do you get to the part of the profile where students are ethical, self-directed problem solvers? And I would like to propose that bridge there is social emotional learning. So social emotional learning is the bridge between those two things. Social emotional learning, when you look at it, it is the process by which an individual understands and manages their emotions, sets and achieves goals, shows and feels empathy for others, establishes and maintains positive relationships, and makes responsible decisions. I think that we can agree that these are skills that will benefit our students well beyond just their academic content, but throughout their lives as well. There are 5 overarching core competencies that are a part of social emotional learning. I won't go through each of the sub-competencies and sub-skills within there, but self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. These and many of the sub-skills within these core competencies would be considered assets to any of our students throughout their academic career and when they leave us and head out into the larger world. So we're very appreciative of the board and the administration, the PTO, for supporting our efforts in providing our students with a very solid, very research-based curriculum through which they're growing their social emotional learning. So in case you needed any more convincing, here are some resources here about why social emotional learning is so important for our students. The first 2 speak to social emotional learning as a larger concept. CASTLE, which is the first website there, would give you an overview of social emotional learning and some reviews of programs that support social emotional learning. The next resource up there is a meta-analysis about the benefits of social emotional learning. And then the last two resources, Second Step and Zones of Regulation, would provide you more information about the programs that we're using to teach social emotional learning at Memorial. So Sue and Ginny will speak with you about Second Step and Zones of Regulation as programs. And then Jamie and Lauren and Shannon will share what the programs look like in action. And we thank you so much for the opportunity to hear about social and emotional learning at Memorial.
As a social worker at Memorial and Center Schools, I have been working with the staff and administrators to select and implement a curriculum that fosters the important social emotional skills that Christy just spoke about. Our goal is to have weekly SEL lessons in every pre-K to grade 5 class. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. There are many curriculums available, but we felt that the Second Step social emotional learning materials meet the needs of our East Hampton students. Here are some of the reasons for choosing Second Step. The concepts progress from pre-K to grade 5. There is a scope and sequence featuring empathy, emotional management, and social problem solving for each grade level. The lessons and concepts are developmentally appropriate. And here are two of the posters, and you can see the difference. This is the poster from the pre-K curriculum, and it's all about calming down, but doesn't go as far as this poster, which is the one that kindergarten through 5th grade are using. So there's more depth in that. Okay. All right. You'll soon be hearing about zones of regulation, and zones and Second Step complement each other beautifully, especially in the units about emotional management. Another reason is that the materials are well designed and inviting to the children. There are colorful picture story cards, short videos, posters, puppets for the younger children, songs, games, and samples of family communication. The people in the pictures reflect the diversity of our world. Christy already mentioned CASEL, and this curriculum has been assessed and meets the standards of CASEL, which is the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. Another reason is that Second Step is very easy to use. It does not require extensive preparation. Staff can adjust the curriculum to the needs of the students. The weekly lessons can be presented in 30 minutes. At Memorial, most of the lessons are presented by the classroom teachers, and I do the lessons for the 5 preschool classes. At Center, the lessons are co-taught by the classroom teacher with either Linda Early, who's the school psychologist, Kat Robinson, who's the PE teacher, Ellen Leslie, who's one of the social work interns from Youth and Family Services that they let us borrow, and myself. Another reason is that we can share materials. We've been very careful to control the cost of this program. Each curriculum package costs about $450. The district and the PTO have purchased the existing materials. And this is an example, because it was easier to carry than the boxes from the elementary. But this is the 4th grade curriculum, and there is so much in here, it's amazing. So the students like the program. Today, I told my 4th grade students that I was going to present to the board tonight. First, they suggested that I count, do belly breathing, and think positive thoughts. They said to tell you that they like the music, the story videos, and the discussions. And here are a few more of their comments. And these were right from the kids. Second step is about how you treat others and yourself. You learn strategies to calm down and to stop yourself from being negative. Second step is friends helping friends work through problems. And it teaches us to recognize differences in friends and accept those differences. And then, I hadn't expected this, but a teacher left me a note because she knew I was coming tonight. And she wrote, second step reminds students to calmly self-regulate and handle peer relations. I have several anxious students, especially during assessments, so they are able to recognize when they are thinking negatively. Now they will say, I can try this. So there really is a link between learning and control of emotions. And finally, I could probably talk forever about this curriculum, but if anybody would like to sit down and look at the materials that we have, I'd be glad to do that. And Linda Early from Center School, the school psychologist, has also volunteered to do that. And I'd ask Rosemary to put our names and email addresses in the notes. And now Ginny.
And finally, the zones of regulation. So students have been introduced to the zones of regulation. Many classrooms use the language of the zones, and like second step, they also have visuals in the classrooms that the students can reference. Lessons are designed to help students in a number of ways. There's 4 different zones: the blue zone, green zone, yellow zone, and red zone. And they basically categorize how the body feels and emotions. So when the students learn the names of the zones and the emotions that go with them, when they say to the teacher, gosh, I'm feeling in the yellow zone, or I'm feeling in the blue zone, they know what it means, the teacher knows what it means, other students know what it means. And it's nice to have that common language. They learn how to use strategies to stay in the zone they're in or change it depending on the situation. They come in, if they're at recess and they're really active, and then they come in and they have to get ready to learn. The zones of regulation helps to teach them tools and strategies to help regulate their bodies to do that. They learn a lot of additional vocabulary. They learn to read people's facial expressions, but they also learn what happens within their own bodies when they feel certain emotions or are in a certain zone. And they gain perspective on how others see and react to their behavior. They learn expected behaviors, unexpected behaviors. You know, expected behaviors make other people feel comfortable, unexpected behaviors make them feel uncomfortable, and what the outcome of that may be. They gain insight into events that trigger certain behaviors, both good and bad. And they explore calming and alerting strategies and problem-solving skills. So sensory strategies, I saw someone squeezing a squeeze ball over there. Some breathing techniques, thinking strategies, and they kind of, as Mary said, they can put those in their toolbox to be used. So if you guys are working at budget time and you need any suggestions for tools in your toolbox, we have some, and some you'll see in the video that we're going to show of these 2 great programs in action.
So the next thing that you're going to see is just going to be a short video showing a second step and some zones in action, and also then showing how they can be intermingled and working really well to benefit the students and the teachers.
Do we know sound automatically? Should be. No? All right, I apologize. This is super loud.
So as you can see, we try to tie in a lot of fun stuff. They love doing their second step lessons, they love the songs that go with it, they love Puppy and Snail, and they really like the zones of regulation. They can speak zones. A lot of them will come up to you and say, hey, I'm feeling in the yellow zone, can I take a walk? Or they'll mention one of the tools in their toolkit. So they're now starting to able to recognize where they are, recognize their emotions, and recognize tools that they have that work for them personally that help move them into, we call it the green zone, where they're ready for learning.
And all the classroom specialists and everything use the same language, so the language is throughout the school. And the students understand it, and they buy into it, and they're able to feel comfortable in expressing themselves in a safe mannerism. So it's okay for them to say, I'm in the red zone. They're not going to be punished, they're not going to be judged. And it's a way for them to be able to express it and then say, okay, now what do I need? Because what works for me might not work for someone else. So they identify what works best for them. And it's just a great program, and both of them and the children love it, and I feel that as a teacher, it benefits everyone. It's a win-win situation.
And we find that the program can utilize both whole group and in small group or individualized situations, depending on what the need is of each child.
And this goes up to middle school 6th grade, right?
Yep.
There you are. I was looking for you. You guys want to field questions?
Yeah, is there any, I think one of the things is that, Center and Memorial both use second step and zones, so that there's that common language, and students can use the language, and the teachers have that language, so there can be conversation that's efficient and direct. And Lauren, I love how you said, students aren't going to feel judged. They're learning to self-identify their feelings, express them, and manage them. And they get a lot of support in practicing that, and that's a success when feelings of frustration or sadness are part of life. And so how we can talk about them and use our classroom community as a resource. As students get to the middle level, we know that their needs shift, their conversation about their feelings shifts a little bit, and so developmental guidance is the arena for those conversations to continue. And we've talked a little bit about bringing zones over to the middle school because it's such an ingrained part of their.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It's like a progression.
Right. So we look to sort of differentiate that a little bit. Second Step does have a middle school curriculum. I think it is not something we've gotten yet because it would be cost prohibitive right now for the district. But that's something that I think we should be considering moving forward, is that do we want to take what we've built K-5, and it has been built. I really want to celebrate the team for being here tonight and talking about it, because Second Step started at Memorial, and probably in 2016 we started to bring it into, that's about the time, Sue, right? We started to bring it over to Center. And it was really in its infancy and pilot stages while I was still at Center, and under Chris's leadership has really flourished, and that now we're starting to get it co-taught in every classroom. And so we just recently have, and as Sue acknowledged, they're kind of building that out this year, reached that program implementation with Fidelity K-5. So until we had done that, we weren't looking at the 6-8 piece. I actually previewed it last spring at a conference, and I think it has a lot of opportunity for us as a district. Because the Second Step curriculum, and as Sue pointed out, we have the resources. If you want to look further, it's very comprehensive. I love how you highlighted it's user-friendly, it's flexible. As Jamie pointed out, you can use it whole group, you can use it small group, you can use it one-on-one. So as a tool, I think it is great for the staff working with the students, as well as the students have really responded to it. So do we look to grow the 6-8 programming? I think what you're going to hear today is that we've started to create structures where we can implement it. Developmental guidance program in 6th grade. Joanna and Aaron have run with it this year. They've done an amazing job of building homegrown curriculum, and we're very pleased with it. But if we wanted to have that continuation of building on what they already have K-5, it would be an investment. We have an advisory structure as well at the middle level, where again, the middle school team puts a lot of time and effort in developing that. It could be the kind of environment where we could continue to implement Second Step. So that's a good thing to have in the back of our minds as we look at budget priorities, and we can continue to support that social emotional learning at the middle level with those structures, and then make decisions now that we have that sort of guaranteed K-5 experience. Do we want to advance that programming further? So this is your chance to start to learn about it.
Questions? All right.
I just want to thank the board again for your appreciation. These are some letters from some students, just from first and second grade students. We talked about why we were coming tonight, and they asked, what does the board do? And we said, what don't they do? So we do appreciate your text and support, so you can pass
We
them
get a lot of
around.
credit for a lot of things,
And some
like
of them are
playground.
quite Thank you.
Quick question, do you guys do that with the students too, like when you're having those feelings?
Yes, we do. Or they'll say to us, if I drop something or something, they're like, are you in the yellow zone? What do you need to do? So they recognize that in each other and in us. And it does help to ground us as well as them.
Yeah.
How many kits or packages do you have at a school?
So currently I know in first grade we share a kit among 2 classes. So
For every 2 classes. At Center, it's a little bit different. We have 4 curriculums per grade level. And like I keep a hold of one because I go into 3 classes. So it's not the teachers who keep the curriculum, it's the co-teachers.
So yeah, that's a good point, Nancy. We're definitely sharing. Sorry.
Well, I just want to say thank you for doing this and making it a priority, because so often we say, to kids when they act out or they're, to use your words, what words? Like, don't tell them and don't teach them. They don't know what words when they're upset to use, so thank you.
Mary, can I just follow up? When you talk about the middle school and the program being cost prohibitive, is it a materials thing? Is it an allocation of resources that we'd have to put in the schools? What part of it is, is driving that large cost?
The programmatic resources, because at the middle level it has a digital platform as well, because it's, as the kids transition to middle level, their social relationships with each other become a high priority. They are always a high priority, as they'll tell you, but it's, the urgency of it shifts a bit. And so there's more problem solving amongst the students, and they use a digital platform to guide that work so that they're kind of doing that troubleshooting together. And so, it would be several $1,000s commitment, and just when we looked at the various priorities, that just hasn't risen to the top yet. And again, when I was looking at it, we weren't even quite at the point we are now where it was guaranteed through 5th. So I think we'd have to make a choice to really invest in that. But it's something we could preview. We could act as a pilot so the middle school could start working with it and exploring it and give us their informed opinion, because, on the flip side, we have a developmental guidance course that Joanne and Erin have invested their time and effort and expertise into, and that's been a low-cost solution, and something that I think has been very advantageous to our 6th graders. So their view of that, their analysis of whether or not that platform is appropriate for our environment is something we'd want to look at. So that's the kind of thing we could start to do, is sort of just pilot that, get a couple of pieces in-house so people can look at it and explore if they feel like it's the right next step. But we're excited with the efforts to this point in the elementaries, and the student response, I think, has been overwhelmingly positive. And that's always exciting to us when we know we have a need, and we find a tool that we like, but if the students also really respond to it, that's when you can feel very excited about the solution.
So Garrett says that we should review his website, so could I get Garrett's website so I can, we didn't put it on the paper, so I'd like to have the website.
YouTube channel.
I don't know, he says you should view my website, so if somebody could get me.
We'll bring Garrett next meeting.
Garrett's website, that would be great.
Maybe when his Genius Hour project is complete, you can come in.
Yeah, I've been for Genius Hour and volunteered a couple of times. It's really fun to do it. But I was just wondering why the website wasn't on here. That way I could
just talk to Garrett.
The 2nd grader is not appreciating the self-promotion. Work on that next. All right. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now, at this point, we're going to get to hear about the developmental guidance program. Joanna, recall
I think one recommendation I would have about
when we get to budget season and it starts to get very stressful, perhaps we can do some leading and some belly breathing.
Yes, belly breathing.
That'd be really helpful, and we do that as a board activity. I want to introduce Joanna Mercaldi, one of our two guidance counselors. Aaron Manis was unable to make it here tonight. School counselor, thank you. But this program has just been phenomenal for our school, and just watching the sixth graders, how quickly they're able to assimilate to the middle school environment now has been a marked change. So please take it away, and I will click for you.
Okay. So we meet once a week with our sixth graders. Aaron and I, basically on Mondays, we don't do anything but developmental guidance. So we meet with them for about 42 minutes. We each split the class in half per se, or the class as a whole in half. So he has 4 sections and I have 3 sections. Yes. Okay. And it's a nice way for both of us to get to know our students, because we split our alphabetical range A through K's with Mr. Manis, L through Z's with me as school counselors, but as teachers, we get all the kids. So I'll have kids from his half, I'll have kids from my half. So within 3 years, the kids will know one of us or even both of us. So the classes that I've taught, Aaron has come into to introduce himself, so his kids to see him, and then I've gone and introduced myself to the kids in his classes. So that way the kids already know from the first day of DG class, we call it DG, they already knew both of us. So that was nice. So we talk about social emotional health, but Aaron and I like to now include mindfulness, because we do that the majority of our time. We're teaching mindfulness type activities. So on a weekly basis, just about every week, we start off with a class with just meditation. So we have a 5-minute meditation where the kids kind of just unwind, we start breathing, we kind of start getting into our happy zone, our relaxation zone. A lot of the kids like this because it just allows them just to kind of breathe and not have anything attached to them, like technology, where we tell them not to worry about things that are outside of the school building, outside in the hallways. We just want them to be with the here and now. We also taught them some gratitude journaling. And that's been really successful because, we talk to them about, what are the things that we're grateful for? Because they don't realize that there's a lot that they're grateful for. So we did actually one of our lessons on that, where we talked about, here's your problem and it's this small, but look at all these bigger things that you're grateful for. So once we had that activity, they're like, oh, there are things that we're grateful for, because they get so stuck in the moment of that problem and they can't get out of it. So we're trying to teach them just to let that go, put it aside, but remember all the goodness that you have in your life. And then the last few things that and I'll go over more of the lessons, but the big one that we're working on now is relationship, friendship, communication, verbal and body language. So that's something that we're kind of wrapping up. We've been doing that since January. So yes, it'll be a 3-month topic, because friendship is that important at that level in middle school. So during our lessons, we've been doing some teaching of Power School, how to read Power School. So for Q1, before the quarter ended, Aaron and I had a lesson that went along about creating individual plans for them. We met with them. They would come up to us. We would go through their Power School, teach them how to read it, come up with a plan for them, so that way we can model for them, so that way in the future quarters 2, 3, and 4, they could start taking some ownership on their own and not really needing their hands held, but just they could have support. But we're trying to have them think of some strategies that they could start doing for themselves. So for Q1, we did more individualized action plan for them. So Q2 and through 4, with support for coming up with our own action plans, and some of the executive functioning skills that we've been talking about with them has been organization strategies, being prepared, and time management. So we've been doing some fun activities with that. What we'll be doing at the end, so I would say this is going to be our April month will be on school to career. And we're not going to ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because some of us still don't know what we want to be when we grow up. And that's okay. So it's just learning about themselves, who they are, what are their likes, what are their dislikes. And then they're going to do some research about a career, and then we're going to have an in-class career fair. So they're going to have a poster, they're going to answer some questions, put some pictures on it, make it all pretty, and then present it to their classmates.
So some of the other things I just wanted to say is, first I wanted to thank Mary and Jason and Eric, because without their support, a lot of this couldn't happen, and it's really nice as to get from Mary, what do you need? I really rarely have ever had that question asked of me, so it's really nice because I'm sitting there going, she's serious. You know, like, this is really important when someone comes up to you and just kind of almost gives you a blank check, not really, so don't worry, she didn't do that. But like, you know, anytime she's like, what do you need, we'll get it for you, stuff like that, so it's been great. One of the things that we've liked with this program too is we did some stuff along with some of the other programs within our school, so with PBIS, we did a big lesson with our 6th graders to really get concrete. We do maybe a 10-minute overview of introduction because it's just the next step from them from center school. But we really just go into a lot of depth with it. So we kind of support through the DG program. We support the school-wide PBIS program. We also did an activity to coincide with our student center conferences, where we were able to help them with a portion of their student center conferences and talk about their DG experiences and what they were to share with their families, and just teach them. Remember, this is what we did with meditation. This is what we did with gratitude journaling. So it's nice that we support our other programs that are within the school. Once the kids got their Chromebooks, we did some lessons about how to use your Chromebook, how to be appropriate with your Chromebook, not to hold it on your head as you're walking through the hallways. Make sure you're not having, not your coffees, but maybe your water bottles near your computers, because we don't want anything to break. So whenever the school's doing maybe some initiative like that, we took it upon ourselves to say, let's postpone that activity, Erin, and let's get right to maybe some internet safety. We did some internet safety, we did some Chromebook safety to go along with that. It's just giving a tool to the kid, and it's like, how do you use it? Now I'm responsible for it for a whole day for the rest of the school year. We're watching the movie Wonder right now as our ending of our friendship curriculum, and we're going to be having a Wonder Wall put up in the school once they're done with their activity. But I just have to say, for my last comment, is today was hysterical in our DG classes, because I forgot there was a kissing scene. And I forgot that they were 6th graders. And oh my gosh, that's so disgusting, oh my gosh. So they were literally falling off their chairs, hiding, and I had to tell them when the scene was over so they could regroup themselves. But it was so adorable to see their innocence in all this. Because I'm sitting there going, my kids are in college, one in high school here, so I'm like, all right, they're kissing, no big deal. But I was just like, it's like, oh, like almost like that. He's got cooties type thing. Ooh, we can't even watch that. So, but they're really enjoying it, and we're going to do our Wonder Wall, not next Monday, because we still have another 30 minutes of the movie, but the following, so in 2 Mondays, we'll end with our Wonder Wall. And if you're ever at the middle school, Erin and I will be, as they create them, we're going to be putting them up as you head in towards the cafeteria, so you can come and see our wonderful 6th graders be in wonder.
Thank you. I think one of the key things to know about, and I really appreciate you and I put this together, because one of the things we see developmentally for middle schoolers is, they're really emerging in their independence. And so the integration of the mindfulness and social emotional sort of wellness component interwoven with the sort of self-management of being a more independent learner, and the academics, time management, the executive functioning skills, with the connection to life beyond school. It's that transition window where they're starting to have all of those kinds of, how I feel relate to how well I was able to accomplish something. If you think of that in your adult life, the feelings of feeling on top of things and prepared, and I'm so pleased with how that went, your confidence, your willingness to persevere, to take a risk, to tackle that kind of challenge again, it's all connected. And it relates to your sense of identity and self-worth. And so they're really starting to kind of tease at those issues of, how did this experience in school with a friend or something that went wrong, how did that all make you feel? And how do we identify those? So as our feelings get more complicated and impacted by a number of things, you see how they're really responding to and ping-ponging off of all of those issues. And I have to really give those kudos back to Joanna and Erin, because although I offered to get them whatever they need, they've really built this from the ground up and haven't taken the district up on too many resources. So it's been really powerful, and students will give you that feedback at the middle school. So they've done a really tremendous job.
I think if you think back to your original November budget request, there was a student from the middle school who came and spoke about the development of guidance program.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So there'll be a part 2. We'll look at how this continues at the secondary level.
So here's the rest of the letters. I have to point out these letters from Memorial School. They're all thanking the teachers are great in the school, and one likes the lunch. The food is good.
We're kind of building it up.
Yeah.
Good night. Thank you.
Better done. Thank you.
Good, how are you?
You're welcome.
When is the president, they know when the presentation?
Yeah, carried someone.
I'll tell her this time. Okay. We're not sending that, guys.
Just slide this way off the camera. So completely
Okay, so we're going to continue now. A few more things to do before we're done. We're not done. We're not done. A few more things. Moving on to policies. We have a couple from last meeting, second reads here. So, we don't have those because they were from last time. So the first one is the advertising and promotion.
I didn't include the fourth.
Nope, that's fine.
Nope.
So, policy committee.
Just a reminder, this is because we have the groups that have fundraised and are willing to support things like scoreboards with just credit to them, or the advertising company or advertisement as requested by any company, as long as it's approved by the superintendent of schools.
Okay, any questions on that? Do we have a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools and the Board of Education Policy and Curriculum Committee and approve policy 1325, advertising and promotion? That was Lois. Second?
Second.
Comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Glad you like it. Second one, policy 41125, security check and fingerprinting.
This was just bringing your fingerprinting policy up to legislative expectations.
And there were no changes from last time? Last meeting?
I have one minor change.
Yep.
Okay.
18D.
18B.
Yeah. I think we're missing a little T.
Oh, T, yeah. Key district.
Thank you.
Yeah, he
We'll
did.
fix that.
The district.
He did. Okay, with that change, we have a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools and the Board of Education Policy and Curriculum Committee and approve policy 4112.5, security check and fingerprinting.
So moved.
Second.
Nancy, second. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Expectations of student dress.
This was just an update. Your current policy was 13 years old, and this has Joanne's request that the tobacco products be included.
Okay, motion to approve. Accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools and the Board of Education Policy and Curriculum Committee and approve policy 5132, expectations of student dress.
So moved.
Second, Nancy? Any other comments? All those in favor? Aye. And the fourth one is the homeschooling.
The only change was Mark's request. Second paragraph from the bottom just made it clear that it was homeschool students who reside in East Hampton.
Yes. Okay, so let's get the motion out, see if there's any discussion. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools and the Board of Education Policy and Curriculum Committee and approve policy 6172.3, homeschooling?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion on that?
I don't know what else to say. I think
think just that it's clear that the kids coming from not within our school have to just abide by our rules and regulations, and
I think that last paragraph
Yeah.
points that out, you know.
if it doesn't work
as-
out
as any
for
other
whatever reason,
student.
it's understood that.
Yeah, and I guess for me, it's, you know, we just have to be mindful of taxing the resources that we have, you know, overstretching things. But this is where I kind of struggle, because then you know, in the second paragraph, with the permission of the superintendent of schools, so of course there's a check there.
Yes.
Right? It has to, Mr. Smith has to say, yes, we have the resources and we can, you know, accept that child in. I think on the other side of what we have, there's some information there, which is interesting too. Towards the end of the highlighted section, I noticed, we're talking about the equal protection clause, and if the school district grants one request, it must generally grant similar requests. I think we had talked about that last time, where I don't know, somebody going to a private school as a resident could bring this up and say, hey, you know, maybe we want to make that change. I don't even know typically how many students we're talking about. I mean, do we know that?
You mean that could
Typically-
possibly?
Well, homeschool.
So how
Do
many
they-
how many
do they
homeschool
have
in
to
the
register
district
the
are
information
there?
with the district? Do they have to say, like, I can't recall, they have to withdraw from it, so you have that information?
Students who are currently students withdraw to become homeschool students. And we ask that homeschool students just register at the beginning of the school year.
And typically, how many students are we talking about? A handful?
15,
I would say
12 to 15.
maybe 3 or 4. Maybe.
You're saying?
There's closer to about 12 students who are homeschooled in East Hampton.
Okay, well, 3 or 4 that might be interested.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we're
Correct.
Well, no, the population of.
Correct. The question was just how many homeschool students total.
Yeah.
Usually we get 1 to 2 requests per year.
Okay. Does that help? So, any other questions, comments? Okay.
May I add something? You said that homeschool students would have to register at the beginning of the school year. I am one of the homeschool students, and I would be interested in participating in your extracurricular activities.
Right.
The school year is already started.
Correct. There's a form by legislation that homeschool families typically just alert the central office that they are going to be homeschooled. So the registered probably isn't the correct word. Students would not need to register for a particular activity. They would just have to call the superintendent's office and say, I would like to be part of the school musical.
And just we researched this some time ago, obviously. The Connecticut law says that you need to inform your school district that you are going to homeschool your child, but I don't believe you need to do that every year. I think that's just the one time.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Nancy. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Any new business? No. Future business is, we have, I know, the dates with Board of Finance and everything with the budget.
So just a reminder, March 25th, our next meeting, we'll just attend the public hearing at 6 p.m. in this room. But policy, if you are available, I'd like to have a 5 o'clock meeting, just to update the graduation policy with Friends' recommendations and the policy on calculating class rank.
You said 5 o'clock.
We'll do that at 5 o'clock, and then public hearing, 6 o'clock, instead of our regular meeting.
That's here?
That's here. And then the 29th, Friday the 29th, the 2-hour session with the Board of Finance, if you're available from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. in this room as well. It'll be the Karen Asetta show.
Yes, it will.
She's like, what?
Okay. Audience of citizens, any other comments, questions? Yes, sir.
UConn women are winning 46-21 in the third quarter.
Thank you.
Nothing else, hearing that, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all right. Good night, thank you, everyone.
We're going to pass this right off to you as well.